Today we're at Harbor Freight to buy every single icon tool they make. Oh! Oh God. Now, if you've never heard of the Icon line, they are Harbor Freight's top tier tools. They mimic the likes of Snap-on and Nipex. We, over the years, have bought a lot of them. They're relatively cheap, they're really well made, and they have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, so today we're at our local Harbor Freight to buy every single Icon tool they have. Then we'll talk about how they work, why they even exist, and along the way we'll figure out which ones you need to buy and which ones you can get away without.
Okay, grab one of these.
Oh, $1,700 bucks?
$1,700.
Oh
yes.
yeah, dude.
Go for it.
Oh yeah.
That.
Literally everything.
If it says Icon on it, we're buying it.
Master set. Another cart. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
Boom. Multiple sets, because you don't know what if one's better than the other.
That's true.
The little guy. 21 inches.
Oh my God.
That's too big. Get these S-jaws. Oh, thank you. We're shopping, we're tool shopping. This is like a kid's fantasy.
This is like a dad's fantasy, really. Cart number 3. Fresh cart coming in. Drop me a gold wrench in there.
I see you read it.
So many keys.
Oh, give it to me. I want more.
Thousands of teeth in my arm. I got the I think we got everything.
Lightning Jerry has finally built the ultimate speed machine and is about to embark on setting a world speed record. Months of work and multiple YouTube videos later, it all comes down to this. He puts on his leather gloves, takes a look at his helmet. Where he's going, he doesn't need a helmet. Jerry turns the key on his motorcycle, starts the engine, cocks the throttle. We hear the engine rev. That's right, folks. Lightning Jerry is about to go 1,000 miles per hour. Okay, and here we go. He takes off. He's shifting into first, second, third. He's all the way up to 350 miles an hour. Fourth gear, 450. Fifth gear, 565 miles an hour. Shifts into seventh gear. He's now at 600, 700 miles an hour. 800, 900, 920, 970, 980, 990. The bike is shaking. It's almost falling apart. He looks down. Can he do it? 996. I wish he had his helmet on right now. So does he. 997, 998, 999. Oh my gosh, is he gonna do it?
Big thanks to today's sponsor, candles. That's right, candles. Wax, you can light it on fire, get rid of bad smells. Pretty cheap at $49.99. It is a candle.
Don't you hate when an ad interrupts your most favorite YouTube video at the worst time? Well, thanks to YouTube Premium, you don't have to worry about interruptions. Forget about ads getting blasted all over the content you love watching. I've personally had YouTube Premium for a while now, and I absolutely love it. If you want to try it out, I got a special link for a 2-month free trial of YouTube Premium. All you got to do is click the link in the description below. Thank you guys for supporting the companies and support us here at Bigtime.
Hey Jared, did you break that land speed record or what?
Uh-oh, let's get back to the action.
Huge thanks to today's sponsor, candles. That's right, candles, sponsoring the channel again. It's a candle. All right, it's time to check out. It's gonna be a doozy. Got a big one for you, sir. Okay.
Has anyone ever done this?
No.
You need a nut. Okay, we also have purchased Icon toolboxes. Okay, total. What's our total?
That's exactly what I said.
Is $14,636.64.
Yeah, so what are we gonna do? That's a big win right there. That's a big dub for me. Hey, at least you're an inside track club member.
And I get points for this.
Oh God. Oh no. Now, of course, you don't need to go out there and buy every single Icon tool. We're just doing this because we work on cars a lot, and hopefully one day we'll have our own shop, so we'll definitely need all these tools at some point. But there's undoubtedly a bunch that if you were trying to build your own toolkit, you should probably skip. So today, we're gonna tell you which tools we think are absolutely necessary and which ones are just nice to have. Yeah, now of course we thought about buying some really nice tools, a big snap-on assortment, but that would literally bankrupt us. And there's a Harbor Freight 5 minutes away from my house, so we figured we might as well go to Harbor Freight and get these Icon tools. They're very nice. A lot of people say that they're very similar to snap-on tools, which sounds pretty good to me because you get them at a fraction of the price.
Clones of the big boys.
That's right. So you don't necessarily need to go get Icon tools for yourself, but for us, they are just what we need. High quality at a good price.
Yeah, and at the end of this, we are going to tally the equivalent costs it would be if we went with Snap-on and purchased them. What do you think?
It's gonna be a massive number, six figures for sure.
Yep, I think $120,000. It's like a house.
2 million. Yeah, I think you're about right. I was gonna say 118.
Okay, 118. You undershot me.
Yep.
Son of a.
Yep.
So what we have done today is organize all of our tools into a couple different categories, starting first with sockets.
Sockets, one of the most ubiquitous tools of all time. And we got a lot of different varieties here.
We have a lot of different varieties and we have them in all sizes. So typically we have a 1/4, a 3/8, and a 1/2 inch.
Yep, those are the most standard drive sizes. And these are some all-in-one kits that Harbor Freight offers. These are like service kits, pretty common stuff. Great first toolkit. If you have no tools, this is a good place to start.
Yeah, if I were starting out, I would have a kit like this and it would get me through the majority of things.
We've all had kits like these.
And they're relatively inexpensive. I think it's $150 for the 3/8 and $100 for the 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
So pretty good. But we also bought every single no skip set in every single size that they had, starting with 1/4 inches.
What do you mean by no skip set?
So no skip set meaning that if it starts at, let's say 7mm and goes to 19, you don't skip any iteration going up to that.
Yeah, there are some less common fastener sizes that tool manufacturers over the years have skipped those sizes on, and then every once in a while you need that size, and you just don't have it.
It's rare, but
when you need it,
you need it. Now we, like Joe said, we have our standard shallow sockets. So those are going to be at the top of the chest. You're going to use those probably the majority of the time.
Yeah. So these are the standard shallow sockets in 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 inch. They are chromoly coated, so they're nice and shiny. You can clean them off well, but they're not meant to be used with impact tools.
Right.
One nice thing that Icon does, which really is a nice thing that Snap-on does, is that they'll offer 3 sizes. So you got shallow and you got deep, of course, but then you have mid-deep.
Yeah, semi-deep.
Yeah.
And my experience with using these semi-deep sockets, which is kind of a new thing for me. I've never been a semi-deep guy. I either go deep or I go shallow. The semi-deeps, you can kind of use them as your solo socket set for the majority of cases.
It's nice to have an in-the-middle option. That said, I would say while you definitely need a shallow and a deep, I think the mids are just nice to have.
Yeah.
Mid-length sockets in general, I think, go into the nice-to-have category.
Yes, while the shallows and the deep, gotta have them.
Gotta have them.
Since that is the first thing going in the box, let's unbox some stuff and put it in another box.
I don't know if we mentioned that, but we are gonna set up our box while we go through this.
Yeah.
Impact sockets?
Yeah, so traditionally, a lot of guys will just take their nice chrome-plated sockets and put them on the end of an impact gun and go to town.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Me too.
You're in a pickle. You got to get work done.
Yeah.
But in the world out there of engineering and technology, guys have created tools specifically for impacts, gun stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right, Jeremiah. The problem with chrome vanadium sockets is that they're very hard and they can explode if you put too much impact on them.
Now, real quick, have you ever had one pop on you?
I've had them crack.
Yeah, I've never had them. I've never had them
explode. Yeah.
So we have a nice range of impact sockets here.
Most commonly, you're going to be using these on half-inch drive things, but we do have some 3/8 options here as well, which is nice. So we've got 3/8 short impact sockets. We've got some deep 3/8, and then of course we've got our deep and shallow half-inch variants.
Yeah, and these are thin wall, which is kind of nice. So a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, a lot of times with impact sockets, they have to make them bigger because the steel is not as strong. So they're physically a larger socket, and that can cause some problems when you're in tight spaces, or you gotta get a socket in a channel or something.
Yeah.
So these are actually thin-walled impact sockets, which is really nice.
Because you might be wondering, well then why don't I just buy impact sockets and only use them? But even thin-walled versions like these are still going to be a little bit bulkier than your standard sockets. So it is nice to have both. I would go so far as to say something you need to have.
Absolutely need to have going in the toolbox. Happy holidays, guys. We are doing our final merch drop of the year.
Yeah, and to say thank you guys for all the support this year, we're gonna include a free 5-sticker pack with every order.
Yeah, so if you order the anime shirt, get a free sticker pack. We also have this in a hoodie if you're cold.
That's right. We also have it in a banner.
Bang, hang it in your shop, hang it in your room. If you don't want the anime one, we got the Bigtime one.
Also got a couple new hats, Bigtime Auto Parts.
Yes, this one that's on my head.
We've also got shirts. Walk with me, talk with me.
Lots of shirts. Short sleeve shirts for the hot boys, long sleeve shirts for the cold boys, and every single one of these shirts is made in the US of A. The cotton grown in the USA. The knitted shirts that we get here made in the USA. The printing done in the US of A.
We've also got shirts for your feet.
Socks. Sock check, Joby. And if you guys would like for the holiday season, you can also get gift cards. So go give those to your friends, to your loved ones. Thank you guys so much. We love you.
All right, now that we got some standard impact sockets in the box, let's start talking about some specialty sockets.
Yeah, like swivel sockets.
Swivel sockets, dude, they can do like the wacky and wailing inflatable. A lot of companies make some sockets that have swivel joints built into them for when you can't quite get your ratchet square on top of a fastener. These sockets can actually bend and still turn so that you can get onto some tricky fasteners. So these are very nice to have. These from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch with built-in swivels. It's nice, but they also sell just swivels.
Yeah.
You can stick in between any socket and your ratchet and effectively turn any socket into a swivel socket. The difference really is that the sockets with them built in cut down on the overall length, so they're a little bit shorter, and every once in a while there will be a time when this is really the only way to get on a fastener. But I think they're just nice to have. I think you need to have a set of swivel adapters, and these, nice to have.
Even more special sockets. So we have things like E-Torx.
E-Torx, so like a female Torx head, very common on BMWs.
Right, this is a triple square impact socket set that
very
are
common on Volkswagens and Audis.
as well as ball head long hex big sockets.
These are one of my favorite tools. These are for removing Allen fasteners that are kind of far away and you can't quite get square on top of.
Right.
You can get into an internal hex fastener from at least 15 to 20 degrees offset.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, these are lifesavers.
That's right. And then they have a shorty set here, which is nice to have.
For when they're not so far away.
And then over here we have all of our extensions.
Holy smokes.
1/2 inch, 3/8 that are impact.
We are overextended.
Okay, impact extensions. What do you think?
What I
1/2 inch?
think is that they, I guess, are nice to have, but when you're using an impact gun, using extensions really kills the torque that gun is putting out. So whenever you can, don't use an extension with an impact gun.
If I would do any of these, I would get just the 1/2 inch,
I
like
agree.
we talked about before. Wobble sockets, they're nice.
That said, if you have universal sockets or universal joints, you don't really need these. So I think these are nice to have, but not necessary.
Okay.
I think what is necessary are a couple of general sets. So we got a 1/4 inch and a 3/8. You get some different lengths here, and obviously you can stack these all together to make a super long one if you need. So I think these are need to haves.
Super long johns.
These are nice to have.
Yeah, those are really nice to have. For your like hex bits, ball sockets, I think these are a keep. They're a must. They're always going to be a situation where you can't get an Allen key or something in, and they speed up the process. So those are automatic keeps for me.
I agree. Ball end, standard end, long and short, all keep for me, as well as the Torx bits for sure. And then when it comes to the triple squares and the female Torx, I think it depends on what you work on.
Yeah. And then over here we have some things that I think are also keeps. These are just adapter sets. Always nice to have these.
Yes.
Very nice. Now this is a more specific set. This is a oil filter socket set.
Yeah.
I've never used these. And then, oh man, the almighty crow's feet.
Yes. Yeah, so these are a specialty tool that, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't find a use for very often, but they are cool.
Yeah, I have used them a few times. For example, certain motorcycles, you'll need to attach the cylinder where you can't get a socket directly down, but you need to torque it down to spec, right? That being said, I'd maybe use them. You know, G&T is my standard.
I touch mine all the time. I touch my crow's feet all the time when I'm looking for other stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
F these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're nice to have, I assume. Broken?
Broken.
Yes, it
But
is.
Harbor Freight has the best policy when it comes to stuff like this.
That's one of the reasons I mean, this is not an ad. I love Harbor Freight. I go there all the time. I have since I can remember.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons, you know? Yeah, sometimes the stuff is a little junky, but you can get it replaced. Okay, that was a lot of sockets, but sockets are very useful, but only if you have something with which to turn them.
That's right.
That's where ratchets come in.
Ratchets in all shapes and sizes
And finishes.
plating, baby.
Wow. Ratchets are one of my favorite tools.
Yes.
So we've got swivels over here, 1/2 inch, 3/8 and quarter.
Okay.
Then we've got our standard with the grippy tippies. Then you got flex head, 1/2, 3/8 and quarter.
Okay.
Then you got standards with flex heads and stubbies.
And you got stubbies.
And I've got thoughts, dude.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear your thoughts,
Well,
Bubba.
where should we start? Let's start with what I like the least. I'm not a big swivel head guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a big swivel head guy.
I know. I know. I've never really found one that I liked. I'll give these a shot, but they're just a little too floppy for me.
Yeah, I love swivel heads. I especially like them on working on motorcycles because I can do it quick. I do this move, or I do this. I go like this, and I do this.
Well,
I do that.
I do that too, but I do it with flex head ratchets.
Oh, you do this, and you do this.
Yeah, for
That's
some
good.
reason I like that, the little detent in the head, I
Yeah,
like it.
You like that too?
Yes, but this is really preference. What you
Yes.
really need is at least one ratchet in every size, 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch. For me, I like the standard metal handles. They clean off really easy, and I'm always making a mess of my tools. And I think this is one of those things where over your years, you'll definitely amass a collection of ratchets. And, you know, I've got one in pretty much every size or style, and I consider them all to be necessary.
But you will need at least one in every size.
Yes.
So those are
and then it's
keepers.
nice to have a long 1/2 inch. It's really tight stuff. It's nice to have a stubby 1/4 inch. Generally speaking, I try to use the smallest tool I can for whatever I'm doing.
The stubbies are really nice. And a lot of these are 90 tooth, so they're, when you get in tight spaces, the tooth is...
The swing arc is shorter.
Swing arc, yes. Now these
These are the best ones of the bunch,
These
obviously.
are the best ones. I don't know if they tell you to use these or not, but we're definitely going to use them from here on out. I'm not touching a tool unless it's gold plated, baby. But these are great. And you know what these are actually cool for?
What's that now?
Give them to your buddies.
That's right.
Here you go, bud.
I would say that ratchets, the action of a ratchet is a very personal preference.
Yeah.
You hear this?
Yeah, I hear it.
That's pretty tight, right?
Pretty good.
You know, like if we were a spec guy, we'd be specking it up right now. But really, when it comes to using it, it's just, hey.
It's all about feel.
How's it feel when you use it?
All right, let's box these suckers up, huh?
Box them up. Let's box them up.
All right, now we've made our way through sockets and ratchets, let's talk about one of the most common tools of all time, the wrench. Yeah, so we got a bunch of options here, and while they all have a place in the toolbox, some are more useful than others, I think.
So I think the standard, everyone's got to have it, is just your classic combination wrench set. So I will have a closed end on one side and an open end on the other.
Your standard ones, no tricks, no features, no ratcheting or anything like that, no flexing, but gotta have it.
Need them, gotta have them.
But what you really want to have is a set of ratcheting wrenches.
Right.
Possibly with a flexible head.
Oh, well, let me dig in my pile here and let me pull out a set of
Yes,
flex
yes.
head ratcheting wrenches.
Yeah, these are my go-tos. These are the wrenches that get used the most in my kit, is a ratcheting flex head wrench.
These are the set of wrenches that when they're bad, I've chucked them across the shop.
They'll frustrate the hell out of you. Some people try to overcomplicate them, you know, put the switch on them that you're constantly flipping. So I like to have a set that don't switch. You just gotta flip the wrench.
Yeah, when you flip the switch on accident.
And you're tightening and you don't realize it for like 3 turns.
Now, we also have some specialty wrenches like,
Whoa!
these are some ratcheted on one side, but fixed on the other.
Whoa, and they got like a deep head and they're dead flat.
Yeah, they're dead flat, they're long johns. This is something that is really nice to have.
They're not terribly different from these. These are extra long, but they're double box end, double ratcheting, and flex head. These are super cool, super useful. You get a lot of leverage and you get flex heads on both sides. I love these, but they're just nice to have.
They're nice to have. And then you have obviously different sizes.
You got your stubbies, your stubby flex head ratcheting, your stubby standard head ratcheting with switches. You got your stubbies with no ratcheting. So basically you've got your standard length, longer ones, shorter ones, some with ratcheting heads, some with flex heads.
Right, and then you get into the more specialized ones like S-shaped wrenches. And then you get your open end wrench sets that have an angle to it.
Yeah, now why do you need these weird shaped things?
Well, for this one in particular, I've used these to get exhaust bolts off. You know, you're trying to like reach around something in your engine bay, you gotta pull the exhaust manifold.
Oh, I know all about trying to give a reach around on an exhaust. Nice. And these are sort of a similar idea. They don't have as much of an S shape to them, but they do have 2 angled heads, one angled at 30 and one at 60 degrees, so that you get some angle options for sneaking the wrench into tricky spots. So.
And then finally, we have a set of offset box wrenches.
I love these.
These are great.
These get me out of all sorts of sticky situations.
Jerry! Jerry, come here. Get in here. You were saying.
I love these wrenches. Offset box wrenches are great for just tricky to reach spots where you can't quite fit a whole ratchet and socket and you can't get a wrench in for whatever reason, or maybe the fastener is really close to something else. So you need a thin wall so you can't really get a whole wrench in there. These are great. They're very thin. They sit down sort of like a socket on a ratchet.
Yeah.
And get you into all sorts of tricky spots. So I always have a set of these. And these are also great. I keep a cheap set of these on hand to cut up. Because sometimes you'll just have that one bolt and you can only get on it this way, but you only have this much room. Right. So I'll cut the ends off these and just use them as little tools for whatever.
The next time we have a click to analyze on our video that goes live, whoever edited that video has to get that tattooed.
You'll pay for it?
Yeah, I'll pay for it. 100%.
Dude, Kyle will just do it. No problem. Let's do another kind of wrench.
Yeah, let's get into torque wrenches. Yeah, so we have a mix of torque wrenches from digital flex head to split beam.
To your standard click style.
Yeah.
So what's what and what do you need?
You know, I think at the end of the day, you just need something more than anything that's accurate.
And all of these should be in the same ballpark of accuracy. I'd say most torque wrenches on the market advertise around a 4% accuracy. If you get close to like 2%, that's really good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, at the bottom of our barrel when it comes to price is this split beam, Joby.
Yes, yes.
Half-inch flex head orientation. This is 140 bucks.
Yeah, so this is a click type split beam, so you still get the audible click when you reach your torque value. Some beam torque wrenches, you just have a needle, like on a traditional beam torque wrench. So this still clicks, which is nice. My major issue with these are, well, really two things. One of the things that's nice is that you change the torque with the thumb screw over here. So you really never have to worry about hitting it accidentally, which is nice. But then it just gives you this little window wheel for setting your torque. And it's usually kind of tough to get exactly what you want. The other thing is that these only measure torque in one direction. So only in normal tightening or right direction. So if you have any reverse thread fasteners that you need to torque, you can't do it with this, which maybe doesn't sound like a super common thing, but just 2 days ago, I had to torque the sprocket under my oil pump and it's reverse thread.
Yes, but this is, I guess, what I've been using the majority of my life.
The classic.
The classic. This is a little bit more expensive.
$145 is $5
$5 more.
So this is, I think, one of the classic ones. It's a click wrench. This has a flex head, which is nice. It's got a sort of more traditional method for setting your torque value, which I think is easier to get specific numbers with. It's got a nice audible click, so you don't need to be able to see anything on the torque wrench. You just pull it till it clicks.
Pull it till it clicks.
$145. You gotta have one of these. Definitely a 1/2 inch one for things like your lug nuts or bolts and big fasteners that are very important. Gotta have 1/2 inch torque wrench.
Yep. Something like this where it's digital and does angle.
This thing is so nice.
Oh yeah, you've been using it.
Yeah, well, I just did the rod bearings on my M3 and the torque spec on the rod fasteners is 22 foot-pounds plus 70 degrees. So a lot of times on hardware like that, you'll have an angle value for the final torque.
Yeah.
Which if you don't have a torque wrench that measures angle, you have to add a tool that is often very finicky that just kind of goes on the head so you can see how many degrees you went or measure it out on the hardware. It's never fun, but with this, you tell it how many degrees you want to go and it shows you every degree as you go and then it beeps when you get there. So not necessary, but very nice to have. This is my first digital torque wrench.
This is mine too.
Wow.
How crazy. It's got a flex head on it and it also is $370. And then, I think 1/2 inch is the one that you're going to be using the most, like Joby said, but they also have 3/8. So we have a 3/8 that's 5 to 75, and this is 20 to 100.
Yes, so I would say this is the one because it goes lower, and if you need to go above its max value, you got the big guy.
Yep.
But okay, I think these are the keeps.
Those are the keeps.
And these are all nice to have.
And these are all, this one's really nice to have.
Really nice.
This is so sick, but yeah.
These are basically torque wrenches too.
Yeah, breaker bars.
Like I said.
You don't really need these, just use a torque wrench. In this segment. But essentially these are just brute strength tools that everyone needs at least one in their toolbox.
Yeah.
That's it, next section.
Together.
Yeah, so you just put and check this out.
Oh. That's the fart drawer, dude.
That's so fun.
All right, so
What are these?
well, we got things that you put your hand on and then you twist.
Ah, drivers.
I call them drivers.
Yes.
Yeah, we got our classic screwdrivers.
These are my favorite ones.
nut drivers.
Just because of the name.
And then we have our classic Torx.
Yeah, these are more of a T-handle situation and standard Allen.
Yeah, T-handles are also really nice. You get a ton of leverage on them.
And they're essentially a regular Allen key inside of a handle. So you still have the short end sticking out the side of the handle. So they're very convenient if you have the space to use them. And if you don't, then you have the sockets that we got earlier. What do you think? Are these must-have? I think they're nice to have.
I think this is unnecessary. Yeah, unnecessary, but if you're doing a lot of Torx stuff, go for it. But this would be on the third tier for me. I wouldn't really use these all that much. I would definitely have a metric set of T-handles.
Yeah.
They're also really easy to read and really easy to grab. I think that's one thing that we haven't talked about so much is like, how easy is it for you to find the tool, use it, get to doing what you need to do, and then get back to moving on to something else or whatever you need to do. Okay, then we have, everyone needs a set of screwdrivers.
What are those?
These are screwdrivers.
Oh.
You gotta have a set of those. These are great. We also have some smaller sets.
Absolute must-haves. I use these all the time. Small screwdrivers are great for obviously driving small screws, but even getting in and popping little electrical connectors, or you know, getting an O-ring or whatever. They're super handy. Love having these. So these are must-haves for me.
And then we have nut drivers here, where these are nice to have. I don't use these a whole bunch.
I've never really understood them, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean,
I think if you're doing a repetitive job where you're driving the same couple size nuts, maybe it's handy. But I would say you should save your money on these and just get a set of sockets, and you can buy a 1/4-inch driver that you can throw any socket on, and then you effectively have this whole set. So,
yeah. All right, let's get to unboxing.
let's box them.
Okay, upon further reflection, I take it back. I think these are nice to have, but they're not necessary. I would much rather have this on a socket than on a handle. Right?
Yeah, dude, good job. That's growth.
Now, next on our list of essential tools that go in your kit, all different types of pliers. Now, I actually really love Icon pliers. I like the handle. Some people don't. Guys who come from the Snap-on world might not like this plastic. That's what they're emulating.
Dang.
Yeah, I think Snap-on has a version of this. And so does Knipex.
Knipex.
Which we've been calling Knipex for the last
Yes, and probably will continue to do so, but it is Knipex. I didn't actually realize Icon was making a set of these. This is essentially Pliers meets an adjustable wrench.
Yep.
These are great. They have a lot of different teeth here, so you get, and that's kind of a theme across a lot of these, that you have a lot of jaw settings. So these grip nice and square to whatever you're trying to grip, just like a wrench would, and you get mad adjustability. Oh yeah, dude. Well, I just look at the guy, man. But so the trick of these is that the jaws move parallel to one another. So just like a wrench or an adjustable wrench, you can grab onto a fastener really quickly with these. They're super handy. Maybe not for everything, but something that's not super tight or whatever, these are super, super useful, and they get a great grip.
Goes from 50 all the way down to, well, less than 12. But
Yeah,
12,
it goes all the way down to all the way
closed.
closed.
Yeah.
So you don't get a whole lot of tools that have that much versatility. I honestly, I have these in a couple different sizes. I use them all the time.
But when it comes to having a list of pliers that you absolutely need, you got your Old Faithful, needle nose, gonna always need a good set of needle nose. Slip joint pliers, these are actually great. I use slip joint pliers all the time.
These are satisfying to handle.
Oh, those are some big snap ring pliers.
Yeah.
We also have a whole set of snap ring pliers. These are pretty cool too. This is like a version of a slip joint plier.
Yeah,
So,
these are great. Very similar to a Knipex.
very similar to Knipex.
Yeah, these are spectacular. The angles on the jaws let this take a really nice bite into hex fasteners. You also get this channel through the nose, so you can hold on to like a cylindrical object pointing out this way without losing grip, which is really handy. Try to do that with a flat set and you're gonna lose whatever you're holding. So these are super useful. They've got a lot of little tricks up their sleeve, and yeah, I would recommend picking up a set.
So then you got your cutters, gotta have a good set of cutters. These are great. They also have flush cut pliers, which I love. These things are sharp as shit. You know what I used these the other day to do?
Clip your toenails.
You guys dang right. Anyways, these are absolutely fantastic. These cutters are sharp and they're flush cut. So I use these a lot with zip ties.
Yeah, trim and zip ties. Yeah, these are great for
These
getting
do
a nice,
just as good. But
yeah, but these are a nice precise cut and they get into smaller, tighter places.
these are new that I haven't used yet.
Pistol grip pliers in my lap at all time.
Yeah.
Pistol grip pliers in my lap at all time. Yeah, I mean, I guess I get it.
Pop, 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 pop. And we got adjustable joint pliers right here.
Classics.
Classic. I don't use these, and I probably should, to pull off fuel lines, to pull off hoses.
I never use them.
I never think about it, but they are really useful when you do use them. I just never remember to use them.
Also great for,
Ow.
so close.
Then we got wire strippers. Always need a good set of wire strippers.
Love a good stripper.
I've never used these set. These look really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just a manual yank.
Yeah, but these are also made in the US of A.
Hot dog.
Hot dog, dang man. You can freaking put wire right there on there and then pull out, and then you got it.
You give her a tug.
And then finally, we have some S-jaw quick adjust pliers.
Oh, S.
Now these, I don't know of any automotive application where I have used an S-jaw. I would think maybe on the big rig would be something that I might need something that big.
Come here.
No, get out of here.
Just let me squish your little head. So as we've seen, there are lots of different types of pliers, but what it really boils down to is just a handful of different types. These are what you need.
Yeah.
Some slip joints, some needle noses, some cutters, some channel locks, a set of strippers, and these are a new kind of entry into the plier world, but I'm putting these in the gotta have it list. I think these are so convenient and nice.
All right, next on our list, Joby.
Hammers! It's freaking hammer time, dude.
Bum.
He's got the pants on, you just can't see it. All right, so up next is hammers, and on the Icon line, Harbor Freight has basically 2 different kinds of hammers in several different sizes and weights, and they are all dead blow hammers.
Dead blow, yeah. Dead blow because once you strike something, there's a material in here that prevents the hammer from bouncing back.
Yeah, basically metal shot. You can hear it in there.
Yeah.
All these, little metal balls in here, as you come down, are suspended at the back of the hammer, and as you blow down, all those balls come crashing down. Yeah. And it also, because all those balls are crushing down into each other over a fraction of a second, it makes the hit from your hammer take longer.
Yeah.
So the force is delivered over a longer period of time, which can be a good thing.
Yeah, and you have obviously rubberized ones like this, and then you have ones that have metal tips to them.
Yeah, so these help to not damage whatever you're hitting and make sure that there are no sparks, which can be important depending on what you're working on.
I've actually never used a ball peen that's a dead blow.
I don't know if I have either.
Yeah, I've only used a regular ball peen hammer.
Well, Harbor Freight got all their execs in a business room and they're like, why not?
Anyways, we have 3 different sizes, the ounce of the head of the hammer here. So bigger jobs, medium jobs, tiny jobs.
Yeah, and for some reason we've got 4 sizes of the rubberized from 16 ounces all the way up to 48 ounces.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy hit.
Yeah. Now I have a bunch of hammers in my arsenal, but I will say I probably use 1 or 2 the majority of the time.
Yeah, I've got a ton of hammers, and there's a few that are in use. So I think you need a small and a big regular dead blow.
Yeah, and then I would also pick a small ball peen.
Yeah, yeah. Now sometimes when you're using a hammer, you need to use an implement with that hammer to achieve your result, and for that we got punch and chisel set.
Punch and chisel. Punch and chisel.
These are pretty straightforward. I don't think I've used these ones yet.
I love a good punch set. I think
Yeah.
you need a set of good punches. These guys right here are so useful in so many things that you don't realize until you absolutely need one.
Yeah, and when you need one and you don't have one, then you try to find something else that'll work, and it usually makes things worse.
Yeah, it makes your problem into a bigger problem instead of a solution. So
Gotta have them.
gotta have it.
All right, now we've got a few hand tools, sort of some odds and ends, but these are very convenient tools. We got big picks, known as radiator hose picks, which they're just big picks, but they're very convenient for taking crusty old hoses, radiator hoses, vacuum hoses, whatever, rubber hoses off of whatever they're on. You know, they're frozen together, you're pulling on it, can't get it off. Well, you stick one of these under there sideways, work it free, and then it'll come right off. So these are convenient, although maybe not super necessary.
Yeah, this is a different version of this plus a scraper. So
Yeah.
I'm sure this is this tool right here is super useful when you're rebuilding engine stuff and you have you know,
or even
gasket
replacing
material.
a gasket, valve cover gasket, oil pan gasket. Sometimes you have to scrape off old RTV, and those make that convenient. So I would say a kit like this with a scraper and a couple big kits, that would be a good addition to anybody's kit.
Now these I use all the time. This is actually
frequently.
an old set because I forgot to buy a new one at the store, but I already had one.
Yeah.
Little picks, mini picks. Use these constantly. These save me a ton of time.
Yeah, and these are nice ones. The handles are really nice. They feel good in the hand, and the actual metal that the picks are made out of isn't weak. I've had so many picks over the years where you just bend the tip or break it, and these have held up for me for a while. So must have IMO.
And then you have this professional scraper set. Professional. Now I actually have one of these, and I use it with a plastic razor blade all the time.
Yeah.
To scrape stuff off.
Yeah, that is the nice thing that you can replace. It's just a regular razor blade.
Yep.
You could also use a plastic blade.
Right.
So you can put a fresh one in for very cheap and always have a fresh blade. Where these, regular scrapers with just a steel tip, over time they'll get a little beat up.
Not necessary, but really nice to have, and I actually use this a lot. So, gotta have it, gotta have it. Nice to have.
Nice to have.
Nice to have too.
Box them. All right, up next we've got some service tools, some big stuff. Things so big they come in their own boxes, so we're probably gonna not put these in the toolbox.
Yeah, these will go on a separate shelf in the shop.
They'll collect dust. These are not super common use items.
Yes, correct.
What did I pull up first? Master interchangeable puller set.
Puller.
Yeah, so it does what it says. It pulls stuff. This can help you get, things like a pulley off, like your harmonic balancer off the crank, or getting a wheel bearing out, or pretty much pulling anything that's press fitted on a car off.
Yeah.
And I would say, for the most part, with all of these service tools, these are things that you can go rent from your nearest auto parts store for the rare odd time that you need them. Not something you definitely need to buy unless you're gonna use it frequently. So next we've got the Master ball joint and universal joint press set.
Wow, look at that. 16 adapters.
Up next, we've got the long jaw Master puller set. Another puller set, just this time with longer jaws. Falls into the same category. Nice to have, but you don't need it that often.
What else do I have? Oh man, look at this. Oh, look, a Master brake caliper set.
Wow.
Wow,
So cool it turned you British.
I mean, this is a very nice kit.
Yes.
Not all that necessary. There are plenty of hacks out there for you to be a bush league mechanic and not hurt the part. And now these next two are definite haves. I use these all the time. This is a screw extractor set. Now, this is already open because we've
One of
used
them's
it.
broken. I don't know what happened.
Did you break it?
Yes, I did.
So this, if you got a stuck fastener that the head ripped off and you got to get it out because you got to put a new one in there, these are super useful. I think you absolutely have to have some sort of screw extractor set. And then sometimes you take bolts out and maybe you botch up the threads a little bit, dig them up, and you need a tap and die set to improve the internal or external threads, depending on what you're doing. Have a tap
Or
and
if you're
die set.
making stuff and you need to tap a hole to accept a fastener, this is the way to do it.
Great way to do it.
Yeah, you definitely gotta have taps and dies. Now the next tool, my grandpa had one of these. I'm not sure that's true. This is basically just a long wrench with a couple different hex fittings and crow's feet for getting down to the tensioner to take off your serpentine belt. Extremely unnecessary, I'd say. One last service tool.
Oh,
and
man.
it's a doozy.
Yeah, so when we went to Harbor Freight, we needed a diagnostic scanner.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have one of these things, especially when you're working on cars and you gotta, in this day and age, they throw codes.
Yeah.
Now this one, they make 3 different versions. They make a lower tier, a middle tier, and then a higher tier
So
one.
obviously we decided to go with the highest tier.
No, this is the middle one.
So obviously we decided to go with the middle tier. What was this, $1,600, $1,400?
I think it was,
Yeah.
it was $1,000+.
Yeah, this was around $1,500, which is not cheap.
Not
but
cheap at
this
all.
is a very powerful scanner. It has a lot of OEM capabilities, which to get a scanner that does all this is going to be in that price range. You can definitely get a cheaper OBD2 scanner that basically just reads and clears codes with maybe a few other options for $40, which is probably what you should do to start out, but this thing is powerful. Yeah, I think the Snap-on ones can get into the 5 digits.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
scanners are super expensive. So for a pretty powerful scanner, the price here isn't bad. Realistically though, you don't need a scanner this powerful. You do need a scanner though.
Right. Look at this, John.
Holy smokes.
A diagnostic smoke machine. Now, I will say, I've used one of these things 5-6 times in my life. They are super useful.
Yeah.
They have,
Yeah, you can see
this tells
there's
you.
a picture on the side of the box of the guy using it, really in the way that I've most commonly used them, and it's pushing smoke into the intake tract of an engine so that you can check for leaks everywhere downstream of wherever you're plugging in this case at the front of the air intake. So then you just force smoke into, in this case, the intake manifold, and just look at the engine and see if there's smoke coming out of anywhere that it shouldn't. All right, now lastly but not leastly, some tools for the shop.
Yeah.
This one reminds me a lot of you.
A super creep.
Professional creeper.
So I don't use a creeper.
I also don't use a creeper.
Yeah.
For one thing, my garage is so low that to get a car high enough to use a creeper under it without being like this, then I can't really open the hood or I run the roof into the garage door opener.
Yeah.
So you don't not need it.
You don't really need it.
Well, what do you think about this creeper? Because it goes off-road. These wheels, which might sound funny, and that's because it is. No, I mean, I could see, you know, a case like if you work on a farm a lot or like you're just often outside working on whatever, your truck, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This could be great.
So good to have if you know, do a lot of creeper work.
Now this next one, Jeremiah Burton, is creeper adjacent, but much more useful in my opinion.
Yes, everybody needs a little shop stool to spin around. Oh, you looking for this?
Yes.
Oh, here you go. Now, good stool is super important.
Trying to be efficient, trying not to fall over all the time, trying to keep your buns comfy, and you know, maybe you're trying to bring a few tools with you. All right, now this is pretty nice. So we've got a nice wide footprint here with some pretty tall wheels, so you're not gonna get stuck on every little rock or pebble.
I've never been in a shop where I haven't need to sit down and work on something.
Wait, what?
I have never been in a shop where I haven't needed to sit.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Me too.
All right.
Me either, I mean.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
Beautiful.
beautiful and nice, chef.
Okay. Well, this one's pretty nice.
Yeah?
It doesn't roll as smooth as I'd like it to.
Maybe you gotta break it in, I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe you gotta break it in, but the seat is comfortable.
Nice bounce to it.
Okay, what else do we have? We're getting down
Well,
to-
Jerry, we've got some lights,
Nice.
some work lights.
Some work lights. Yes.
Now this fella, I love these. It comes with the you know, spring-loaded bar, so you can jam this across your hood, so you can have nice light under your hood. Or if you're working inside the car, you can put it across the roof, so it's lit up inside the car. Very convenient. I think these are great.
We have here, this is a slim bar light. So this articulates, it folds.
Magnetic base.
I have not used this particular one, but I've used ones like this all the time, and they're great.
Yeah, super useful tool. And
Ah,
I feel like when you're working, what's left?
well, what have we been putting all our tools in?
Toolbox.
That's right, a toolbox. So this is a 73-inch, I think.
Sure, it sure is.
This is a roll cab one. We also got the top deck portion of it because we're going to be putting more tools in this as we build our
almost
collection.
filled this one up already.
Yeah, this one's pretty much full to the brim of friggin' tools, baby.
That's right.
And my first toolbox was a Craftsman that was probably a couple $100.
Me too.
You know?
It's about this wide.
Yeah. And it
I eventually got it to like this tall. It's one of life's great chases, I think. You know, you always want the next bigger box. So I think you should start out with a small one so you get to chase the big box for a while.
Thank you guys.